Posse Comitatus Act of 1878. Can the President of the United States use the military to police the people? Like, comment, and follow for more. Posse Comitatus Act. The main law that prevents the President from using the military as a police force is the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878. This federal law limits the role of the U.S. military in enforcing domestic laws to maintain the separation between civilian law enforcement and military power. Core prohibition. The Act, codified as 18 U.S.C. Paragraph 1385, states that no part of the Army or Air Force shall be used as a posse comitatus, the power of the county, for the purpose of executing the laws. Recent expansion. Originally applying only to the Army and Air Force, the scope of the Act was expanded to cover the Navy, Marine Corps, and Space Force under the 2022 National Defense Authorization Act. National Guard status. The Act does not apply to the National Guard when it is under the command of a state governor. However, if the President federalizes the Guard, its members become subject to the Act. Exceptions to the Posse Comitatus Act. Despite the restrictions, several exceptions permit the President to deploy the military domestically for law enforcement purposes. The Insurrection Act. This is the most significant exception, allowing the President to deploy active duty military forces or federalize the National Guard to enforce federal law or suppress rebellion or insurrection. It requires a presidential proclamation to peacefully disperse before force is used as a last resort. Natural disasters. Congress can authorize the use of the military to restore order in the aftermath of a natural disaster, as was discussed after Hurricane Katrina. Counter-drug operations. Legislation has been enacted to allow military cooperation with civilian law enforcement officials to combat drug trafficking. Protection of federal property. The military may be used to protect federal property and personnel, though recent court rulings have scrutinized whether such deployments amount to illegal law enforcement. Coast Guard exemption. The U.S. Coast Guard, while an armed service, is not covered by the Act due to its inherent law enforcement duties. Recent legal challenges. Court rulings in 2025 have scrutinized the application of the Posse Comitatus Act. In response to recent troop deployments, a federal judge ruled that a deployment of the National Guard in Los Angeles was illegal, stating it violated the Posse Comitatus Act by using military forces to perform police functions without proper authorization. This highlighted concerns about the Act's limited scope and the potential for a president to overstep their authority by exploiting ambiguities. Can the President of the United States use the military to police the people? The law suggests no, and any act of the sort is unconstitutional. Tell us what you think. Drop a comment. America, the list is growing, from Los Angeles to Chicago, to Memphis to New Orleans, to Washington, D.C. Maybe you, the viewer, would be wise to watch our video about D.C. Since September 2, 2025, the U.S. military has blown up at least 4 boats off the coast of Venezuela in operations targeting alleged drug traffickers. Remember, Posse Comitatus applies to drug traffickers. Like, comment, and follow for more. Posse Comitatus Act. Thank you for watching Trust Raw Facts, Key Points.